And welcome back to Beginner's Fab. My name is Eric McGrew, and today I will be working on my rock sliders again. I am going to be making the arms that support them. Making the support arms that link them to the chassis rails, and I'm going to be using this 2x2 by 8 wall stock or 120 wall stock right here. Now I am going to have a telescoping setup, or a remove, an easy remove option for the rock sliders, which means that I've actually got to buy another stock of a piece of 40 millimeter stock, because these are 50 millimeter stock, and that way it will slide directly into there, and then I will bolt through, and then they will be held on by grade 8 bolts, and then I won't have any problems. Also, I've made a change in design. I am taking the tube off of the rock sliders altogether and will not be using it at all. It just adds more weight than I want, and these will actually stick further out than I had originally thought about, so that they will be a side step for my wife, for friends, and people we know. Also, I will be cutting a little edge off of the rock slider, but I'll get into all of that so that it doesn't get caught up on stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the rock sliders, mark up this tubing, and then start cutting it. As I've decided that I don't want to have the tube portion on the rock sliders now, I'm just going to use this rectangular tube. I've decided that I also want to make sure that I cut an angle here, so that anything that hits this will be deflected off and not get, caught up on this corner. However, I don't want it to come to a point there. That's just kind of weird looking. There's no point in it. So I'm going to probably start about right here. I'm going to start about maybe 1.5 inches inward. And then from that point, I'm going to come back probably around 4 inches or 3 inches right there, and drop it off there. So, of course, what you do on this side, you've got to make sure you do it on the same side on the other side. So I'm just going to take this here, and I'm going to say 1.5 inches right there, and then I'm going to take this here and say that I'm going to do 3 inches here, then mark it, of course, just like so, just to get the idea where I need to be. And then, of course, it's not a bad idea ever. Just so you don't lose that line. The radiuses that are part of this line that you'll have to cut, because those will affect things. And then from there I can make my end cut here. Now all I have to do is line it up to be where that line that I drew earlier ends, making sure, of course, that my ratio is square. And you know what, now that I think about it, see, I didn't pre-think it. Now that I think about it, what I should do is probably just make a beat right here for this other piece that I cut. So don't forget, when you make a new line that you want to cut, mark out the other one. Make sure you make it where you realize that line is no longer valid. So like here, I'll just go through that one. I know that that's not the line I'm thinking to cut. I'll use the same point, however, and then I'll go from that point here, drawing by eye the best I can around this long radius. So there we go, got that corner cut off. Now I just have to do the other 3 and then I'll have to weld them up. Now that I've gotten the tips all cut off for these angles that I wanted, and as you can see, I have them cut off on the same side so that it works the way that it should. Now that I've done that, what I will do is I will go over this with the flap wheel everywhere that I'm going to weld these down, or weld them up I should say, and get it all, you know, fixed the way that it should be, boxed in. And with that, I will go and weld a piece of plate that I cut out to fit that as well. Now, of course, I'm going to cut a piece of plate that's actually wider and a little bit longer than these openings so that I can always trim it back, because always remember, the rule that you always want to remember in making anything, whether it be metal, wood, or whatnot, is it's always easier to cut down than it is to add to. So I can always trim it up, but adding to it is a little bit more difficult. This angled point there will be what is closest to the outside. That's the outside edge, so that when I hit a tree trunk or a rock or whatever, instead of catching on a corner, it just kind of slides off and runs down the side of it, which is the make of it. So briefly, I wanted to show you how I had designed the arms. These arms here will meet just like that. So it will be that they have that little notch. They'll be welded on top and on the bottom. This will be closed off right there. That gap will be closed off. And then, so on the chassis side, there will be a plate mounted here on the chassis, welded with a plug that inserts into here. And then there will be bolts, probably 2 or 3 grade 8s that go through there and hold it on. And the plate that the plug that I'm using is a 40mm by 40mm square tube, which fits in this and only has a difference of around 2 millimeters on each side of play, so it's not very much. It fits pretty tight, and that way it'll hold what I need, and it should be very, very strong. That way I can also take them off if, for instance, I'm going on a long road trip and I don't want the extra weight, or I get into a really narrow area and I don't want them on, or if I need to make repairs on something in the truck and they get in my way, or any of those kind of things. It's just a feature that allows for a little bit more lenience having them removable, but that's not necessary. It's just what I chose to do with them, so that's why I'm doing it. And I just wanted to let you guys know. Oh, the other thing is, if I ever damage the rock sliders because I did hit a rock really hard or something without knowing, you know, I didn't see the rock and I hit it really, really hard, or I was going a little too fast and I drop on it too hard and I need to repair it, then I can take them off and repair them a lot easier than I can trying to repair them on the truck as well. And it's always a pain to have to cut them off and then re-weld them back on, so I'd rather have them removable through bolts and that kind of stuff. So that's what we got.